What's going on, everybody? This is dkdynamite, and tonight we're going to be talking about the new update in Cold War, free COD points being added in, and even something Treyarch set up during Blackout, which is finally making its way into the game here in Season 6. Definitely stay tuned, but before we jump into that, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below, and also as a reminder, I'll be playing with every single one of you guys out there that sends me proof of using code Dynamite over at GamerAdvantage.com. Their link is, of course, down below in the description. They also have free shipping going on site-wide until this Sunday night at 11:59 p.m. Today, they also announced the new Jared FPS Gale Red frames. They look incredibly clean, so if you guys are interested in a new pair of blue lens glasses, all that is linked down below. My question to you guys is, what other Treyarch World at War maps do you want to see brought back into Call of Duty Vanguard? It seems like Sledgehammer has the opportunity to use any map they want from World at War, since it's fitting to bring that into Vanguard, I guess. They already confirmed Castle and Dome, which are two fantastic maps that somehow never got reimagined a single time. I do know that in Black Ops 2, they brought back the map Courtyard in the form of Dig. That was a pretty cool map. It played well. In Black Ops 3, we got a really nice reimagining of the map Bonsai in the form of Verge. I loved playing that map. And lastly, we got the map Rupture during DLC 4, which is a crazy reimagining of the map Outskirts. And I feel like I was one of few channels out there to do comparisons to some of those older versions. So I'll leave some of those older comparisons down below in the description if you want to check that out. It's pretty funny going back to see how far I've come in terms of my production value, my editing techniques, my commentary skills. It's crazy, but definitely worth a watch in case you guys want a bit of a throwback. Before we continue on with the rest of Black Ops Cold War, let's go and thank the sponsor of tonight's video. Now, tonight's video is sponsored by Mech Arena, an amazing free-to-play shooter game available on mobile. Now, we all know how ridiculous pay-to-win multiplayer experiences can be. No matter how good you are, it's no match for somebody who may have spent a little bit more money than you. Well, thankfully, Mech Arena is here. It's a competitive 5v5 shooter where you progress based on your performance, as skill actually matters, not how much money you spent. The game is really balanced for all players and all skill types. All mechs, weapons, maps, and game modes are available to everybody with various different progression paths. There are loads of free-to-play ways to get resources and progress, such as events and daily objectives. Fight against powerful mechs and more, but taking down bigger mechs definitely requires precise planning and strategic movement. The gameplay really reminds me of all the fun mech suits we had back during Black Ops 3. Don't forget, everybody's on an even playing field at the start of the battle. Winning is about being a better player. The game features a variety of family-friendly modes such as Control, Team Deathmatch, and tournaments you can compete in. Mech Arena recently launched globally, and they're running a huge celebration event right now in-game with loads of awesome events, amazing welcome rewards during your first week, and even more. Mech Arena is completely free to play on Android and iOS, and you can use a personal link down below in the description or the QR code on screen to get one Steel Reaper skin, 500 A coins, and 70,000 credits. Thank you to Mech Arena for sponsoring tonight's video. Now back to the video. Yesterday we got the very interesting drop of the Chemical Reaction Ultra Skin Pro Pack, and I want to stress this out very clearly. The Pro Packs do not cost COD points in the in-game item shop. They cost real money. What that means is that when you go ahead and spend money on these Pro Packs, it'll then reimburse you in COD points afterwards, which is, I think, a steal in my opinion. You get two for the price of one. You get the value of about 4,800 COD points for just 20 bucks. And I know depending on your currency and your region, that may vary a little bit, but in this pack itself, we have a really cool diabolical looking reactive skin for the character of Stone. We then got a really nice blueprint for the FFAR and even one for the Pellington. We then got a coffin charm and then an animated emblem, calling card, sticker, and don't forget the 2,400 COD points. Now I get vibes of both Scarecrow and Bane from the look of this guy, but Fajardi went all out and raised the bar yet again last week with a very custom piece of art showcasing this character as the Green Goblin. A fantastic looking piece that I ended up using for tonight's thumbnail. Definitely show him some love with this Twitter link down below in the description. But I want to point out, for those confused, yes, you do pay $20 to get this, but you get reimbursed in the equivalent of COD points. To me, that is a great deal, and I think this is something that they should hopefully do more often in the future, where you get to get two for the price of one. I think that's great. That's a better bargain. I mean, considering you're spending a third of the cost of the game on just a bundle pack in a first-person shooter, I mean, that's a little outrageous, right? But here's where things get really interesting. So a couple of days ago, out of nowhere, only in Warzone, the Oktoberfest Tracer Pack went live a little bit early, and some people managed to get it. I mean, now I think if you go in there, it probably won't be there anymore, but in this Oktoberfest pack, we have the very first first what I call special order that is available with this bundle, where you get to actually complete a challenge and earn COD points back. So aside from the Pro Pack offer that reimburses you in the same amount that you spent, this Oktoberfest Tracer Pack will give you back 300 COD points for doing these mini challenges for the character of Beck. And you can do the challenges in either multiplayer or Warzone, which is great. I will put them on screen so you guys can see. And I'll probably talk more about it when this pack officially launches at some point, likely next week. Right now, it's not supposed to be out, but some people already bought the pack and did some videos with it. The thing is, right, you have to pay $20 for that bundle, 2,400 COD points, right? But the little COD point challenge special order will only give you back 300 COD points. So the problem with that is it really worth the money, right? Is it worth spending 20 bucks just to get 300 COD points back? What could you even use those 300 COD points for? I mean, maybe some tier skips for your battle pass? I mean, I wish they sold skins individually in this game or even in Warzone that only cost like 100 COD points a piece. That would make more sense. Maybe 500 COD points max if it's an animated one. I think that would make more sense and give us some use for having such little COD points, like 300, 500. Can't really do much with that, can you? Most bundles are about 10 bucks and up. So it's like the start of something that I see working out very well in the future, being able to earn COD points in a variety of different ways so that you can buy these bundles for free. But right now, that's a bit of a slow start, right? Just 300 COD points isn't very much. Maybe, let's say you have 4,500 COD points in your inventory, right? And you spend 2,400 to get a certain bundle, and then you get 300 back from, let's say, this one. That'll help your remaining balance hit 2,400 so you can buy another big pack like that. But that's a very limited circumstance, right? Where you would need just 300 COD points to buy something special. I think if they introduce a system, either in Vanguard or in the next couple Call of Duties in the future, where you can just earn COD points by doing dozens of challenges, maybe you can earn up to 1,100 or more a day, that would make more sense so that there's a fair way to get some of these bundles, because although this is quote-unquote better than supply drops, there still is no possible way to get 2,400 COD points for free. I mean, you can get a battle pass for free if you save those 1,100 every season, but that's really it. Now, earlier today, we got a very beautiful blog post showcasing that Blackout is indeed coming to Call of Duty Mobile. We have gotten some teasers on COD Mobile's Twitter over the past week, which gave us a hint, but today we got the full blog post showcasing that. It looks amazing, and I'm almost certain that nearly all of the regions from Blackout are going to make a return, if not the most iconic ones at the very least, and it's going to launch on September the 22nd. So that's the day after the numbers event, and the day after, presumably, Outbreak Survival for Cold War. I'll probably record some gameplay of this and use it in a video. Maybe I'll stream it if you guys are interested in that as well. But this is crazy to think about. The fact that Activision is like, all right, let's acknowledge Black Ops 4 exists. They already acknowledged that Chaos existed. I'm surprised they didn't sweep that under the rug. They brought Chaos characters back into COD Mobile, now the entirety of Blackout. So I think it's great that they show Blackout a little bit of love, considering that Blackout had to walk so that Warzone could run. And we can go off forever about how if Blackout had what Warzone does with, you know, free-to-play capabilities, cross-gen, cross-progression, more budget, the list goes on. I think Blackout really set a precedent for how at least a Treyarch Battle Royale should work, and maybe that'll impact how much better Warzone could be at some point in the future, even with the Pacific map coming out in late November. The reason I bring up Blackout, though, not just because it looks beautiful on COD Mobile, it is the fact that something that I thought about after I made my last video is something that you guys may have forgotten, and that is that in the Blackout map, there are some areas that have already made a return into Cold War. We have Raid, you have Hijacked, you have a bit of Express, you also have a tiny bit of radiation over at the fracking tower in the form of that panel that can open up in the ground, you know, the underground area itself. So the reason I bring that up is because we do know as of recently it is being rumored that both Radiation and Launch are coming into Black Ops Cold War. I'm not sure when, but they're likely going to be remasters that we see in Season 6. And if you're like, well, why specifically have they chosen the maps they have to remaster? I think the answer is simple, right? There were a lot of plans they had which got scrapped for Black Ops 4, such as bringing Raid, Hijacked, some other maps over into multiplayer. So since they had that on deck anyway, they just said, you know what, let's just bring that into Cold War. It's, you know, change it up a tiny bit, change the scenery a little bit so that it matches the tone of Cold War, and boom, prop that in for some season DLC. And ironically, we already saw Launch in Black Ops 4 as well, in the form of that night variant that we got in the later half of the game's life cycle. So realistically, we haven't really gotten a daytime remaster of Launch, so that's probably why they're going to add that here in Cold War, and that might explain the design choices behind what maps they did bring back, although I am surprised there are some DLC maps that haven't got brought back yet, like Kowloon, Hazard, Hangar 18, some other gorgeous maps that maybe maybe Treyarch will revisit at some point one day. Express still a map that I'm like, I'm scratching my head, why is that map back? But like I said, assets were probably done for most of it over in Blackout, and they said, you know what, let's just bring it in. It saves us some time, we can focus on some other content instead. And on top of that, they're working hard right now on Vanguard zombies, so they're gonna pump out as much as they can for Season 6 to wrap up this game's life cycle with the bang. But considering Zoo that's in Cold War right now isn't really a faithful remaster, it does use a lot of the assets that were in the Outbreak Zoo region, and does have a very similar layout to the BO1 Zoo. It still cuts off quite a few sections that kind of makes it an entirely new map, so consider it Zoo Strike. Speaking of Strike, we could still see Duga Strike, which is just Grid Remastered. The entirety of Grid from BO1 is inside of the Duga region that's in Fireteam and even in Outbreak, so that's a possible map. We also had rumors of a Diesel Night. Diesel was at night during the campaign and was expanded to be a little bit bigger with the motel area. Maybe they'll bring a Diesel Nights Combined Arms map that features the motel in the background, has vehicles. Right now, Diesel in the daytime, and it's 4 6v6 and even face-off. Still a good map, but that was rumored by, I think, Dudes Trust Me over on Twitter. The map never came out. Now, right now, it does look like support for Fireteam has ended for Cold War, although it is possible we see an LTM added in Season 6. I highly doubt we're gonna get another region added for the mode itself, because it seems like Ural Mountains is something that Treyarch is looking past now. With Outbreak and Zombies, at least, they looked at Collateral and Armada as the next two regions. They didn't even touch the Ural Mountains anymore, even though there are several regions from that map that we never got to see. So we'll see if there's another Fireteam map in Season 6. As of now, I'm going to say probably not, which is unfortunate because I'm a huge fan of the mode. Maybe it just wasn't getting played enough to warrant them adding another experience. It was on a bigger scale like that. But speaking of Ural Mountains, right, something that I brought up on the podcast earlier this evening, which is also linked down below in the description, is what if we don't see Ural Mountains in Cold War, Warzone, or any other future COD, but what about COD Mobile? It struck my attention yesterday when I'm like, wait, if they're adding Blackout to COD Mobile, and maybe next year they need another new Battle Royale map on a large scale, they could just theoretically work on a map that was already laid out for Cold War and just bring that over to mobile somehow. And I think that would be a great fit. How funny would it be to see Ural Mountains playable in its entirety for the very first time, but on mobile? It might piss people off because the map had a lot of potential for Black Ops Cold War and Blackout 2.0, or maybe they'll sweep that map under the rug and pretend it never existed. They'll pretend that there was never a plan to do a Blackout 2 for Cold War, and they'll just say, yeah, we had some regions from something we were working on, we put it in Fireteam and Outbreak, but maybe they'll never add that to mobile just for that reason. Now, I just want to point that out to get your thoughts down below in the comments. I think it's a plausible idea that we could see eventually, or maybe Treyarch will revisit that entire location one day for another project where we can finally see what they were cooking up for the true sequel to Blackout. But last and definitely not least, Dark Aether Camo. So as you guys may have noticed, at the beginning of Season 5 Reloaded, Raven finally released Zombies Camo support for Verdansk and Rebirth. I won't say it's too little too late, considering Dark Aether storyline is continuing with Vanguard, so even if they added the camo in during Vanguard's life cycle, it still would have made some type of sense. Although when Vanguard fully gets integrated in November, we're going to want to see the camos from Vanguard's multiplayer and Zombies then added to Warzone at that point. But the camo does look pretty good on at least most weapons in game. In the footage I have in the background, it's on this green looking blueprint that came with the chemical reaction pack, so you don't get to see it in its entirety, but I'll put another clip on screen so you can see it without the blueprint. And I think it looks fine. I'm surprised it looks as good as it does. I mean, some weapons look better than others. That's how it goes for the camo altogether, even in Cold War. Some weapons don't look right with the camo, and then, you know, after a while, Treyarch will hotfix the weapon itself and make sure the camo does cover at least most of it. But all in all, if you're like, wait, why did this take so long to add in? You know, this should have probably came out in Season 1 or 2 at the very latest. I will say, you know what, I think COVID and the pandemic circumstances severely impacted developers in more ways than another, and definitely in ways that we don't even understand ourselves. Not only just working from home, but other issues, you know, regarding lack of staff, you know, lack of testers. I mean, you can question why a billion-dollar corporation couldn't get more people to work on the game faster, but we do know that as of recently, Activision has nearly all studios under their umbrella working on Call of Duty, so I think that'll be done to prevent things like this from happening again in a future game where a feature that should be in the game at launch just isn't. I think going forward, we're going to see a lot of changes with how Warzone gets integrated the right way, and Cold War is off to a bit of a rocky start with the Warzone integration just because of how severe the pandemic had impacted all of their studios. But that is about it. This has been dkdynamite. Leave all your thoughts down below in the comment section. What are your thoughts on the new update here in Black Ops Cold War? How do you feel about the new chemical reaction bundle? We have a couple of multiplayer playlist updates that I showed you guys in yesterday's video. Nothing too major. Shuffled around some playlists here and there. They put, I think it was double agent over into party games. They got Nuketown 12v12 now for a limited time, and some other things as you guys can see on screen. But also, what are your thoughts on Treyarch having maps ready in Black Ops 4 that they just saved for Cold War? Do you guys think that makes sense? And also, how you're feeling about Blackout coming to COD Mobile? Really hope you've enjoyed, and peace out, everyone.